Hello.
Hello, Danny, right?
Yep.
Or help.
Hang on. Let me just mute you on the stream. You're
Oh,
echoing.
right. Classic. Yeah, it happens a lot.
No.
Okay. Would you like to introduce yourself and just talk about how you got into 3D and like where you're at currently?
yeah, sure. I started off doing props for films and TV, and then I kind of wanted to progress into animation or games. I don't really have a preference, to be honest. I like both. And currently, I'm working for a VR studio in Ireland.
A VR studio, nice. Is that how's that experience been? Has it been have you been there a while or is that
I only started about 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks
Oh
ago.
wow, super fresh. Yeah, that's brand new.
Yep, basically.
Still shiny. Uh yeah, so okay, so we've got all these materials here. And you've got some, looks like you've got some props, you've got an environment, and then you started adding environments, and then a super soaker. That was
So,
a
so
fun
the
challenge, man.
Yeah, that was good. I actually enjoyed that one. The environments are chronological. The balls are
Okay.
chronological, but they're not like it doesn't go balls. They're mixed up in time. If you get me.
Mm.
So each
Oh right,
material
I see what
ball,
you're
yeah.
saying. Yeah. Are they in order of like the one you like most, or
No, the broken wall one was the first one I did. Did that in a course in CGMA, and then I kind of
Mm.
just progressed along. So the mossy one is the newest one.
Oh, I see what you're saying now. Cool. Yeah, so as we go through these, they just kind of progress, and you get I guess the hope is you get better. I mean, it looks like you got better. um yeah, awesome. Yeah, these so you said animation and environment art. Is that correct?
Yeah, just anything to do with environments, really.
Mm. Is there anything in particular that you really like about the idea of being an environment artist or a level artist?
The storytelling. I don't think I've really mastered that aspect of it. I think I kind of do a lot of I rush things a fair bit. I want to get things done.
Mm.
But I haven't been working for the last 8 months, so I was kind of filling out portfolio and trying to get things up as quick as possible. Now
Right.
that I'm working again, hopefully I can slow down and take my time a bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well, I would highly advise slowing down now that you're working, because like if you'll just burn at both ends,
yep,
right? And that just doesn't help in the long run. But yeah,
just,
no, this is yeah. Go ahead.
you tend to just play games for 2 or 3 weeks to chill out, calm the head, and then go at it again.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like so if you're at a VR place, and I don't know if it's like I don't know if you'd said it was games or if it was like just VR experiences in general.
It's VR experiences. They don't
Mm,
really do games at all.
okay. So it's more about the overall like just experiencing stuff in VR.
Yep,
Um so with that, I guess you kind of just go for it. You just make stuff at work, and then when you come home it's either work on this or game. I would say given what you're probably working on at work, depending on how intense it gets, um I would say try and chill for like 5 months, which sounds super long. As long as you're comfortable at work. If you're stressing still, uh, it might help to work on some smaller things. But I would I wouldn't discount the fact that you're now kind of in a more stable situation when it comes to 3D art and bringing in a paycheck to ride the wave, the
yeah.
wave of adulthood. um, Okay, so I think we'll discount the materials other than like this one I really like, just because I like these types of details. The copper trim sheet.
Cool.
Um, but the other ones I would say, yeah, they're cool. The broken wall one looks a little bit layered in a weird way, but you were saying it was your first one and you were learning a lot through that, and then you
Yep.
just kind of progressed through these. Um,
Yep.
the cobblestone one feels like it's missing that layer of extra detail on the surfaces themselves that kind of push the realism of it. Like the cobblestones maybe feel a little smooth,
Okay.
and I'm not sure if it's because when it's wet, the detail is more present. So it
Yeah.
might just be the complexity. Oh yeah, okay. Now that I'm seeing the flats, which it's really good that you show these maps. I think what it is so there's a lot of subtlety in the height, which comes through in the normal map, but it's the albedo is still very relatively simple in the samples that you're seeing with the information. Like the sample of a stone, it does have some values in there. This says it's 4K, so I can just click on it. Yeah, there is information in here, but it still feels like it's layers of like spray paint colors, and I don't know how else to explain that. Let me think here.
No,
Like almost stylized, right?
yeah, I understand. I've struggled with any type of colors and materials, but yeah, what you're saying, because I do kind of throw down a lot of noise on
Mm.
my colors. And that's kind of how I work them. So when you say spray paint, that's kind of exactly, I suppose, what the effect
You're like
is.
sitting there spray painting the no.
No, it's not what I want to do. I'd like to do it more detailed, but I just haven't
Yeah,
really. Spray painting is it's quick and it hides a bit of a lack of skill, I suppose.
right. Yeah, I mean, this is let me see when the so this is 4 months ago, so this is pretty fresh. I think that don't hesitate, like you're building your height map and you have all these little details. Don't hesitate to bring in scanned surfaces, like 3D, like mega scans almost, and just integrate those into your height map blending, and you will get a whole lot more information that feels natural just because it's an actual scan. And you can use those with like the gradient color sampler and just go crazy with the noise in a natural way that utilizes the height information of that scan. You'll get a whole lot of information in there. Um,
Cool.
that's probably where I would start with, like trying to break up the surfaces, because I think right now what you're working with, like, man, the normal looks really nice, but the it's where I look at the noise in the roughness, and I think there's information that's there that I'm not seeing. It must be in there. It's just there's yeah, the albedo just needs more love, and I think you'll get there.
Cool. Yeah, I agree.
Um, let's see what else we got going on in here. So you get into these props, these TV. It's a TV prop with the Nintendo. Um, and the thing that I noticed immediately when I clicked on it was the poly count. Was there or like the way that the geometry is divided up? Is there a reason that there's extra loops in the mesh?
Yeah, I
I
didn't
can see
really
them.
want to. I didn't really want to use baking too much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I actually, to be honest, I even saying that now, I can't remember because I went in and did every segment of those cartridges, which I didn't really need to do, but I chose to
Oh,
do them.
these? Oh man, dude,
And
hardcore.
I can't remember why. I think I just wanted to do it for the detail. To be honest,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Uh, with these loops, I don't know if you're watching the stream, and
I am, yeah,
yeah. Okay, so these edges here, is there what was the is that just because of the little lip piece here?
yeah. They should have been triangulated, yeah, no, and yeah, it's just
Or yeah,
purely
just
because of
like
the lip.
go okay. I mean, it sounds like you knew, you actively decided to go this route. Because
No,
let's
I don't know. I'm sorry. Actually, I don't have an answer. I don't know. It's wrong, and looking at it now, it probably shouldn't be up there.
I mean, you could go. I don't know if you still have the asset. It's only 6 months old.
I do, yeah. I still have it.
If you clean that stuff, like the extra edges up, you can just connect these and remove these ones, and these ones can be like a style choice, and that can be okay as long as you find a way to terminate it so you're not creating a giant end-gon in here. These can even be a separate, like, I don't know if they are, but like they can
Yeah,
be a separate piece that just slides in,
it's
and
a
it
separate element on the
yeah,
thing. I'm
okay,
not, yeah,
cool. Yeah, so
but
that it is high, but I mean, if that's the detail you wanted, then that's the detail you wanted. Whereas like these extra loops here, if you clean those up, I think it's totally fine to just leave this as is. You just have to clean up the extra loops, and then it looks like you said you're edge weighting these, or it looks like
uh,
they're edge weighting because you didn't want to bake a normal for it.
yeah, I think they are.
Yeah,
Like my normal map's fairly blank. I don't even know why I put it in there.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's something in there, but yeah, I think if you address those things, this could totally, because I know this will come up in like a if you were interviewing, they'll ask you about this. And in some studios, uh, having this and then saying that you wanted it to be real time, or them assuming that it's real time, will actually not get you to the interview point. Like they'll actually stop
Yep,
prior to that.
it's fair
But
enough.
me, I mean, maybe you just link them this portfolio review and you'll be okay. um, let's keep going through here. So you were doing props and then you went to some environments. This hammer looks pretty sick.
That's my oldest piece.
Yeah. How much time did you spend on it?
Um, I don't know. I kind of just did it on the side. I was working a different job at the time. And I was in
Yeah.
college. No, I wasn't in college. Sorry, I was just working a different job at the time. I kind of just did it off and on. Took a bit of time sculpting
Mm,
things, and I think it was learning ZBrush at the time as well.
right. So a lot of this work was in ZBrush.
It was all ZBrush, and then I
Oh,
rendered it in
really?
Marmoset. Yeah, I think I painted it sub. Actually, it was the first time I used Substance Painter as well. So
Oh man, dude, good times. Yeah, so when I look at it, I think the only things that really stick out to me are like these corner pieces. They have this the a disconnect with the scale of the details versus the other details. So they almost feel like if you were to use like a tiling material and you tiled it too high and then used it there, and it feels like it doesn't connect with the rest of the asset. If
yeah,
that
no,
makes
I
sense.
had a feeling you'd say that. I was just scrolling down. I was like, he's gonna basically a textile density issue, but no, it's just the sculpt and whatever way I just
Mm.
sculpted some parts more detailed than others, and that was one of the parts.
Yeah, I think it's just like if this size here was the same in here, like if
Yeah,
this scale was here, then you'd be good. I don't think it's even necessarily a textile density thing because it looks like it's holding up. It's just the difference in design because it's smaller. Uh, but I think that's it. The rest looks pretty cool, especially considering it's your first model. It's a little low poly down here, and it looks like maybe there's some normal warping that's occurring here. Um, how you can fix that, I'm assuming because of the way the warp is occurring, is that edge is a soft edge, and then you bake the normal on top of it. Whereas like that angle is just enough that I would make that a hard edge and then just separate this from the
yeah,
mesh. And I think this is separated in your UVs, but this is still soft, which is why this is happening.
yep. It
I
was
don't
one of
I don't
my
know if I just talked in circles or not,
no,
but
yeah, it's one of my early baking things. There's a lot of those type of weird errors in it.
yeah, and I mean if you don't do it for a while, it sneaks back up on you. and you make those errors again, you're like, "Oh, I thought I was past this. What is this?" No, it's not like I've not experienced that or anything. um so the next one we're looking at is this the 1960 station in the waiting lobby. This one is a year ago. Do you have anything you want to say about this before we just kind of go through it?
That was my first. It was a modular environment with Clinton Crumpler,
Mm-hmm.
and it was my first kind of big scale environment. There's a lot of problems with it, but people seem to like it, so I kind of left it up. Like a lot of things I did a year ago, I took down, but I
Yeah.
left it up because people seem to like it.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of storytelling going on in here, which is really cool to see. Like you've got the soda machines, but then actually having the cans over here. But I do see the age versus like, let me see if I look at some of your other stuff. There's a difference in the quality, and I think it's just this is a year ago, and some of your other stuff you can tell that your skill is going up. So like yeah, so for example, these bricks feel very stylized in a sense. I don't know if it's like where were you pulling the textures from? Did you make everything?
I made everything. Yeah,
Dude, that's hardcore, man. Because they're I'm finding less and less of that, and it's more like 10% is not made by the artist, which is fine because I mean environments are so complex today, so it's like at some point you have to try and cut corners to try and make it happen. But yeah, I think there's just these ice boxes I think are really cool, and there's a lot of detail in the roughness to try and like make it unique. I am seeing like a duplicate between these two, but that's just a
Yeah.
matter of like you just have to change the roughness on one to the other. Um, and then this kind of grimy detail, usually you want to leave that to the roughness, and maybe if it's in the albedo, it's very subtle, because a lot of the times, unless it's like a black stain, it's gonna be like mostly in the roughness to change and break up the surfaces. Um, but yeah, this part here feels a little odd to me, but that might be just because of the scale of the detail here versus the scale here, which is that texel density stuff you were
Yeah, I hadn't learned about
talking about.
textile density yet for this
Yeah,
project.
it's such a weird topic because it can be really alien to explain.
My logic was anything that was big was going to get a 4K texture, and anything smaller would get a 2K. I think that like the file size of that project is off the charts. It's
Yeah,
huge.
totally. It'll totally run. It's fine. Uh, but is this inspired by a place, or did you just make this up?
I was kind of, well, I think was his Dark Material starting the Philip Pullman series on TV, and I went back and read
Mm-hmm.
the books, and I kind of just wanted to make an old kind of Oxfordy train station set a few years ago, and it actually was inspired by a train station in America, beginning with a H that I can't remember.
Oh,
Um,
is it in New York?
yeah, I think so.
Oh man, I forget the name of it. There's a lot of
Uh,
black and white photos of it,
yeah, it's really cool, and there's like three seats in the middle, not four, and the seats kind of look similar to that. And there's a big
right? And
window at the back.
it's quite open as well.
Yeah, Hobbiton, something like that.
I don't know, man. That doesn't even sound like it's in the U.S. Hobbiton,
Hoboken. Sorry, it's in New Jersey.
Hoboken.
Yeah,
It's in
Hoboken
New
train
Jersey.
station.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I mean, overall, it's cool, especially for like being from a year ago. Because like if we go, what's this one? The Bog. This one's
Yeah,
7 months ago. This one's cool. I can tell that the storytelling has turned up. You've gotten better at lighting. There's still some darker areas, but there's a lot of storytelling. Branding is really good. You've got that stained glass. Is it so for the stained glass? What did you end up doing for that? I'm curious.
um, I struggled big time.
Yeah.
It's a substance designer project, and I think I have three layers of glass: one red, one green, one blue, to get the lights behind. Oh no,
Mhm.
sorry, I have three lights, and then I have a small emissive and a weird Fresnel across the glass part.
Oh, dang, that's a lot going into that to try and get it to.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
struggled big time with that,
the
but I have
stuff
to.
is weird. Yeah.
So that's why it kind of glows a bit weird, but I don't know.
I mean, it doesn't come off too strange. It does. It is glowing. Um, but I mean, I guess you expect that. It is a bit more uniform, but you can't we can't tell if it's because of the lights on the outside shining at it or if it's like the lights inside hitting it differently. But I mean, this is a cool diorama because it's just the corner of a, it's a corner of a building and the sidewalk and the street lights, and you have to kind of solve the all these different surfaces to try and give that depth. So is this window, is there like there's glass in the front and then there's like the back wall and then just
Yep,
some props on the inside with some posters?
yep. There's nothing in past that.
Cool. I'm just kind of curious in breaking down all the how you did each thing. A lot of the times I'm noticing your materials can be really strong in the normal.
Okay.
Um, and like this back wall here, for example, you could probably half the strength of that and it would feel more natural. Um, and you really see it on this wall just because you have a light that's really close to the surface shining up on it. Always makes surfaces look really busy or kind of strange in its the way it's behaving against lighting. But there's a lot here which is pretty cool, and I like the neon light as well. Let's see if I can Let's see if there's anything else that really sticks out to me. I think here it's starting to show that there's a lot of different colors which are really cool, but they're kind of going in a bunch of different directions. So it's like trying to unify the overall color palette, because it's weird because you'll see in real life when you have a scenario like this, the building next to the building, the main building that you're focusing on, will have a completely different color, but somehow they're kind of in the same range.
Yeah,
Um, and a lot of that has to do with, so one of the first things is everything's physically accurate in reality, right? So making sure that your saturation values are all kind of in the same range, as well as like not being too bright or not being too dark, and that starts to tie them together. And then in reality, you have a blue sky on a sunny day, or even at night, there's still a color coming from the sky, right? And that color fills in inside of the materials as well, in how the physically based materials respond. And as long as there's some color in there, that'll help tie it together as well. And I can't tell, but I think maybe you were trying to go for the nighttime, and I feel like you're getting these really dark areas because you've tried to make that ambient color really dark.
yeah. I think it's actually set to black.
Yeah, because I bet if you put even just a little bit of like a dark blue in there, it'll start to grab everything and pull them closer to each other, color wise. And then I think the last thing I would comment on with this is the light posts and the bollards are like, the bollards are quite dark and the light posts are quite bright, whereas maybe they would be, I imagine the city would come by and paint them the same color and just try and unify them. I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe this is inspired by an area, because yeah, it's like the corner in the heart of Dublin.
Yeah, I think they are black and white on the
Are
street.
they? Okay.
I don't actually remember.
I wonder. I
I
wonder if
think
this is too white and if this is too black then,
I
because
think
something stands out to me with them.
I think it's the ambient thing you were saying, because I
Mm,
had real troubles getting reflections on the lamppost, because everything, obviously the ambient thing was black, so nothing was reflecting. So I think that's kind of screwed it up.
yeah, I mean, when I see the lamp here and you can see the bollards getting light on the edge of them, they're not too dark, so it might be that the case. I would just make sure that your white or your bright values are not too bright, and then the dark values are not too dark. But yeah, I feel like we stuck on that one for a while. um, is there any of these three environments that you would like to talk about and go through, or is
Yeah, the one with the
yeah? Go
car,
ahead.
for short time, the car one, the orange
The
one.
car one, yeah.
That's the most recent one.
Did you put a clear coat on this car? Is it a clear
That
coat shader?
Yeah, that's the I didn't even make shader for the car. That's the Unreal car shader.
Oh, really? Oh man, I didn't know they had a car shader, dude. That's sick. That makes it much easier to to
Uh,
pull off these materials.
I had messed around in Substance Painter trying to get a car material that I was happy with, but it was
Yeah,
too much of a pain.
it is really difficult. I know that so the kind of like flake that you have in the paint, the little sparkly bits, is that in their shader as well?
Yeah, that's in their shader.
Oh man,
The
yeah,
only thing
okay.
I did, I just put a roughness map over it to kind of tweak and get a bit of dirt, because it was too perfect and too clean.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only small and subtle. But most of it's their work on the car. Sadly,
So, yeah. Uh, well, okay. So when I look at I, this is that problem where it's like I don't know cars very well, but there's certain elements of the car that just feel off to me, like the rounding here, or like the how deep, like how, what's the word, how not deep this part is. Like I expect maybe this would be deeper, but then again, I think I need some roughness. Dude, this shot, I actually like this shot a lot. I don't know what. Uh, that's interesting. We'll come back to that. It's just like, yeah, there's something that doesn't feel right, and I wonder if it's like which car is this?
I can't, it's a mix. I think it's a Ford Mustang mixed with something else, small elements from a different car. But I
Mm,
think it's mostly based on a Ford Mustang.
okay. Yeah, see, I'm terrible with cars. But yeah, I think it's like the elements being maybe a little too thin here, but then this, like flatter here, and then this front area feels strange to me. I think this is the element you're talking about, is one of the different ones.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I think it's when you go to build a car, you're gonna have some really hardcore people that are gonna be like, dude, you gotta make it exactly like you know, like I used to work on Forza, and man, those guys are hardcore about their cars. And
yeah,
thankfully, they have environments in that game too, because that's that's what I was there for. Um,
uh,
yeah, go ahead.
and yeah, their environments are pretty good as well. No, yeah, the cars are hard. That's all I can say. Cars are hard.
Yeah, dude, I can imagine. I wouldn't want to try and tackle them,
I
but
don't
yeah,
think I'll do another one.
it's all about that flow, right?
Yeah,
Um, so the propping that's in this scene is really nice. There's a lot of like character and like understanding what needs to be on these shelves and trying to figure out where stuff would go so it doesn't look like it's just being propped. Um, on the floor, it's metal, it looks like.
yep,
And I think if you were to add like rubber pads, you would get two different roughness materials, which would help with like breaking up the surface a bit more.
yeah, cool, good idea.
And then the brick wall might not be tiling enough. Like the bricks feel like they're very large, which it could be wrong depending on the. They look like they're maybe about 25% larger than they should be.
Yeah, they're actually just looking at it there, they're the height of a paint can, which probably,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. You're talking about this
yeah,
upper area here.
I never noticed that before, but yeah,
Mm. Um, but this shot, there's something about this shot I really like, and maybe it's just the amount of detail that's being focused on with the light, and then everything else is kind of out of focus, but it's still visible. Like it doesn't get too dark. It's a little dark here, but I mean those are dark materials. But this shot is really cool, and you're getting that nice little roughness difference on the paint that's on the wall. Is that just a decal that's on the wall there?
no, it's Substance Painter. So I
Oh,
didn't
really?
actually, yeah, I didn't tile the walls. They're each one's a unique mesh.
No way. Okay, that explains a whole lot about the scale.
Yeah,
That yeah, because
I
that
could have tiled it more, but yeah,
yeah, but I mean that tends to happen more often than not if you do like a unique. You'll have such an easy time if you use tilables more and avoid like trying to deal with, because you would just float this text on a decal against the wall. Dude, that's crazy.
yeah. I'm still trying to optimize everything. It's not the best way of working.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely tileable materials for these larger surfaces like the wall and the floor, for example. You
Yeah,
would
the
want that to be its.
floor was
What's up?
painted as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Live and learn, man. Live and learn. Um, yeah, I mean the Super Soaker is pretty cool. I thought this was like the attention to detail is pretty crazy. It gets a little dry in the areas where it looks like the roughness is like dried out, or like the surface feels dry. But man, dude, when I saw this, I was like, that brought me back. Ninja Turtles, man.
yeah. The color scheme kind of fits it.
Yeah. Oh man, I didn't see this, dude. That's so cool. Um, okay, I want to look at this one really quick. Did you have any questions
Um,
that you wanted to ask? Let me see if we can go through some of those.
what would you recommend focusing on? I suppose where could I improve the most?
I mean, I think a lot. It sounds like a lot of it is more like doing things in the proper way with like the walls and the tiling materials and um, working with decals, and it's definitely looking at your references and understanding how to like. Oh, this shot! I didn't even see this shot. I like scrolled right past it. This one's cool. Um, I think it's just your materials and the way that you're applying your materials. There's obviously the car part. It looks like you were really focused on the hood and the front window, and then by the time you got to the back of the vehicle, you were ready to be done.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. You're like, dude, this is cars are a pain. I'm just gonna close this off and make sure the bevel here
Yeah.
looks okay, and then I'm done.
I was halfway through doing the interior as well, and I just said, no, I'm done.
Dang, you're doing the interior also?
Yeah, you can kind of see some of it there in the window, but I didn't really
Yeah,
finish it. So,
dude, that's intense.
nope, never again. Don't like cars.
Yeah. So, I mean, dude, focusing on this back area and even like where the TVs are, those are some really nice, like little sets, and it's about like getting the tiling on the walls right and separating the ground, getting that a tileable. If you need like a puddle, you can place like a decal of like a roughness shift, and just kind of unifying those. You can work on like just getting your because I can tell now when I look at this shot that you're going maybe a little too dark or a little too saturated, and so you get this kind of what is it? It's like a gamey look with just the way the colors are behaving. The yellow on the wall seems to be okay, saturation wise. It looks like it's more along the lines of the actual yellow you would see with paint. Um, but yeah, I think once you tune that stuff up, there's so much storytelling you're doing with your props that, I mean, that's where I think environment artists and level artists really shine, is like when they can prop stuff that looks like it was naturally kind of laid out. That's when you're winning. And see, like this area here with the straight line, you can fix that by just adding that mat I was talking about, or adding some extra like wires or cables that plug into something that just kind of run along like behind the tires and against the wall.
Yeah.
And just thinking about anything that could hang, like you have the garage thing here, or it looks like it's a garage door.
Hmm.
Sometimes we have like a little hanging ball, like tennis ball. Just any elements that you can hang from the ceiling. You don't want to go crazy with it, but it'll help you break up these like straight edges. So I think
Cool.
that's the only other thing I'm really seeing is like either straight edges or like being able to tell a story with the floor of like where grease or oil builds up. Those types of areas.
I understand.
But no, this is cool, man. I think if you had to remove anything from your portfolio, I would probably remove the wall, the broken wall here, and the wooden planks, just because they don't really stand out in your portfolio. And then
Cool.
the broken wall is just, now that I know how old it is, or like if I click on it, I get curious about like how it's layered, and it becomes very it just detracts from the overall portfolio. But I mean, I can tell you're getting better. I would focus on your materials and then your modeling and then how you approach applying your materials. But yeah, it's cool, man.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, did you have anything else you wanted to ask before I jump
No,
over?
you've got a busy rest of the evening.
It's true. Oh man. All right, cool.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for
Awesome.
taking the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, thank you. I'll talk to you later.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.